What is a door? Is it just something you walk through and close behind? Let's have a look at what the definition is. What they say: a hinge, slide and revolving barrier at the entrance to a building, room or vehicle, or in the framework of a cupboard, a doorway. So you can see how what they say is not much information on it. I want to change that. So in this video, I hope to show basically that doors are so much more. It is said that passing through this door represents the symbolic act of the transition from this life to the next. So, symbolic meaning, let's look at the root. So the early 15th century means creed, religious belief. Also from the Latin means token, mark, and from the Greek symbolon, watchword, a sign by which one infers. I mean, just look how symbolic doors are. They're like logos now. TV, films, you name it, they're everywhere and they're very symbolic. North Door at St Edward's Church, 750 years old. St Sabina Door, Rome, 1500 years old. Bernward Doors, Hildesheim Cathedral, Germany, 1000 years old, bronze. The stone doors at Hampi, India, carved from one piece of solid stone, 500 years old. And the significance of doors are, they have a band named after them, the Doors. Here's a quote: there are things known and there are things unknown, and in between are the doors. Jim Morrison. Just shows you the significance of doors, and in this video that is what I plan on doing, showing you the significance of doors, rituals, etc. everything. I had to start with this, so let's start at the beginning. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. I've always been fascinated with that verse, and I know why now. Some of you might be at ye thinking or asking, what's the Word of God got to do with a door or doorways? Now, the Word of God is the creation of the first earthly door. Now let me show you how I came to that conclusion. So I anagrammed the word, and that revealed D-O-W-O, door. Now the Proto-Indo word for oak is D-O-W-R, door, which later became the word for door. So the Word of God became a door. It is a door. I am the door, John 10:9. So he states he is a door. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord, for the display of his splendour, Isaiah 61:3. So you can see the connection, oaks and doorways. Now, must be a coincidence that Adam, one of the first humans, contains a door, which is Delet, and you can quite see it right in the middle. So even the name contains Delet, which is a door, but it also means blood too. The simple meaning of delete can be conveyed to us in 3 ways, and I'm going to show you them now. Delete is cognate with the word delete, which means obviously door. Delete can also be read as dalat, which means pour. Finally, deleth or delete, it pronounces different ways, also represents dilisoni, which is translated as to lift me up. And delete is the symbol of dimensions. Funny that, isn't it? Obviously dimensions and concern, and given 3 values, 400, 30 and 4, that's 11. Again, we're seeing all these 11s that represents the pathway, the doorway, the gate. It's crazy. This next bit made me go wow and chuckle at the same time, because you know I love playing with words, guys. You know I've done a spell etymology series, and we've talked about in this so far of deleth meaning doorway, door, and dilisoni, which means to lift me up. Well, as you can see, lev in Latin, meaning it means to lift. Now, it's finding such words as levitate, elevate, you know, elevator, and it just blew me away. So what word? So obviously the summary, the Latin word lev means light in weight. So what word could I connect to a door? And what I've been trying to get through in all my videos in regard to LEV, lev, and it blew me away. So I'll give you a few seconds. So what word do you think it is? It's a little bit of a trick there. I'm playing a little trick. Right, guys, so it's actually a word of a number, E11 or L even, whatever way you want to look at it, contains a lev, meaning light, but also 11 represents the 2 posts, the doorway, and a certain god I've mentioned a few times called Janus. So you can just see how blown away I was finding, obviously, dilisoni meaning light in weight, to lift me up, and I found that 11, L-E-V, lev, means in Latin to lift. It's crazy, the coincidence that I'm finding. Hopefully you can see what I'm trying to get at in this one. I believe with doors, and a lot of people think, yeah, Paul, you've got doors on the brain. But metaphorically, spiritually, whatever way you want to look at it, I just believe it fits so much, especially when you read stuff like this from the Bible, when it talks about lift up your heads, you gates, lift them up, you ancient doors, that the King of Glory may come in. Who is he? The King of Glory, the Lord Almighty. He is the King of Glory. So when you see all these things about I am the gate, I am the doors, you ancient doors, that's us. It's talking about us. Why is it referring us to doors? Some people say, well, it's metaphorically. Doesn't matter, we're still doors. And this is what I want to get in this video, all the rituals about doors, not every single one, but you know what I mean? I want to show you the significance of doors, even from evil itself. Because we always say devil is at your door. Well, let's look at the letter D, the 4th letter of the Roman alphabet, from the Greek delta. Where have we heard that lately? From the Phoenician and Hebrew word deleth, which is delete. Pausal from the def, meaning door. So just the letter D is a doorway. So remember that when you're thinking about good and evil. It's crazy, isn't it? The letter D is for door. So when you look at evil, and when evil comes a knocking, does that then change the evil to the devil? Because remember, D is the door. So when evil is knocking at your door, it becomes the devil. The devil knocking at your door. It's just crazy when you start to look at things a little bit different. And I did a video on this a while ago. It was one of the last videos that I did on the old channel. And it's always stuck to me about all the rituals about doors, because I'm never really looking into it. So this is just why I wanted to just hone in on doors and find everything spiritual, metaphorically, anything that can just show the significance of a door. So think about it. When evil is at your door, it becomes the devil. So I've talked about lev before and evil. Isn't it, I'm not going to say a coincidence, that an alternative form of evil from the Middle English, evil. So E-V-E-L is how evil was spelled, and it contains a lev backwards. Now we're talking about lev meaning to lift up, like lift up your heads, you ancient doors. So if we mirror it and turn it around it becomes vel, E-vel. Are we talking about the doors pushing you down, taking you down? Is this heaven and hell? Just a thought, see what you guys think. I just think it's wow. Even though this is not door related, I had to include it. From 2015 until 13th of July 2021, the Houses of Commons had a bill called E-vel, English votes, English laws. I just thought that was just too much not to put in, considering what I've just talked about. It just popped up as I'm searching for the video. It's just crazy when things happen like that. If evil is live backwards, that got me thinking about door. So door backwards is rude. What does rude mean? Sounds a bit like if you're being rude, but I want to know what it meant. And a rood or a rude cross, sometimes known as a triumphal cross, is a cross or crucifix. And have a guess where the rude cross is situated. So I'll give you some few seconds. And yes, you got it. The rood is set above a door or an entranceway in a medieval church. And here's just a few examples of them. You can see it above a door. Beautiful, aren't they? What's the odds of that? It's just crazy. Rude is door backwards and it's set above a door. It just blew me away, that did. Feng Shui, also known as Chinese geomancy, is an ancient Chinese traditional practice. Feng Shui translates to wind and water, studies the flow of energy within an environment. The ancient Chinese art adheres to a system of laws that help to harness the spiritual energy around you called Qi. And it's funny that Qi is also a door in Gematria 11. Some people don't like me using this numerology, saying I'm doing it wrong, but it's to the individual. The well-known practice seeks to promote balance and harmony. Your front door is where your home gets most of its Qi. It's how energy flows and enters, also where first impressions are made. So the ancient Chinese knew that the flow of energy affects humans. So the placement of the door would affect you or I and the flow of Qi, which is life force. So door placement is key. Triumphal arches are also doors that control the flow. Why do you think they are still standing? And you can look around your town, your cities, you can see these beautiful arches that are still there. They act like transistors and amplify the energy. It's why arches are embedded into the motherboard. Also, I believe they control the population's mood. It's strange, but I have that feeling, because if you look around this realm, all you see is obviously arches built, disused arches, supposed arches from bygone civilizations, all still standing. They're there for a purpose, they're there to control the flow of energy. This world is pure energy, vibration and frequency. So if these frequencies, this current, this life force flows, I mean, we even have arches that go on tour, for God's sake. It's just crazy to think about, but archways and doorways, that's what basically they are. And that's why I'm so intrigued by them. I mean, look at this picture coming up now. It's one of the most famous that we all get shown about circuit boards on Earth. and you can see the flow of energy, and it all goes through that. I had an old theory. Now what you're seeing here is Westgate Freeway Portal, and it's in Melbourne, Australia. Now when we had the first lockdowns, the first couple of lockdown cities that went into re-lockdown were Melbourne and Leicester. Now both of these have significant arches. This is the Jury Wall. This is the only remaining Janus temple in the UK. So these first two cities went into re-lockdown before any other, and they were all on the news because it's casting that spell, and that's why it was important to get through that. Melbourne and Leicester were going back into lockdown because of the significant arches. And it's just a theory it had, and some people mocked it, but it became a reality. Most cities that went into lockdown had significant arches, not just little ditty ones, but significant arches. So as I've shown, arches are just doors on a bigger scale. Take for instance this is from the old circle board video. What you're seeing is Manhattan, and the blue dots represent archways. Now just look where they are put. They are put down the spine of the city. They're controlling the flow of energy. I mean, we all talk about cymatics and the sound hitting the medium, creating patterns. Well, if you take about the architectural design of an arch or a door, if the energy is flowing, the life force is flowing through these doors, it's going through a shape. Now I wonder, is that shape, does it change to do different purposes? It's not just a structure for strength, but the actual energy flow that comes out of it is changed. An example of this could be when you change the shape of the blower. You know, when you're making blowing bubbles, if you have a different shape than a circle, you produce different shapes. This is just my idea on if you change the shape of the door, you can change in the shape of the energy and the flow. At the beginning of this, I talked about how the arches, like doors, could be transistors. Now this is a symbol for a transistor, and it resembles something startling, and I'm going to show you it now. I believe, yep, Baphomet. The transistor is the symbol for Baphomet, and I'll highlight it, I'll put it next to each other, and I'll also change colour, and I'll ghost it, so move it down on the top, and you see it fits perfectly. It's another where they've basically bastardized the energy. They've shown you that the transistor symbol is Baphomet. That just wowed me. That. See what you guys think. Door rituals and symbolism. I'm not going to put everyone in because of obvious reasons, but yeah, there is some famous ones. For instance, what you're seeing here now. The ritual of carrying the bride over the threshold. It's one of the most famous ones. People don't realise that. The threshold is a strip forming the bottom of the door. This ritual was carried out to protect the bride from worrisome demons which might be lurking about the new home. And this is from my pal Steve. And to save her strength so she could make her husband a sandwich. Oh, sorry, I forgot. And the dishes. It's a joke, by the way. I just couldn't help myself, guys. So in symbolism, the door can represent a beginning or an end. A doorway can lead to a new path and close up an old one. It can lead to mystery, fortune and danger. So they're really significant, really, if you think about it. To stand in the doorway is to be neither here or there, but in the in-between world. Is this the reason behind the doorway effect that I've talked about and done a video on? The reason we leave a room and forget. We are neither here or there, we are disconnected. So that'd just be the reason behind it. Here's some more door superstitions. When you visit a friend, you must leave by the same door you entered by. And this is to bring you and the person both good luck. If you enter through one door, then leave by another, guess what? You'll bring bad luck to you both. Remember that game as a child you played? We call it over here knock and run. So you knock and then you run off, obviously. Well, the old superstition goes, if no one is at the door, then death is coming for you. So that's where it comes from. So it's crazy to think about it, isn't it? If you see a spider crawling up your door, expect a visit from a stranger. So all these superstitions. And killing the spider in the doorway will ruin your chances of future opportunities. Like horseshoes, wishbones used to be hung over the door to bring all who passed under it a bit of good luck. Now, they say that if an unmarried woman hangs a wishbone over her door, can you guess? The first unmarried man, not a relative, to pass under it will be her future husband. And it goes likewise for men. So if you're single, get that tried. Pliny states that nails torn from graves and fastened to the threshold have power against nocturni lymphatones. That's basically your immune system and your lymphs. If you gain entry uninvited, it's sacrilegious. Thus, they have to get a search warrant. Now, this is not for you. This is to appease the liminal deities. They're the threshold and the door gods. It's deep when you really think about it. It's not your rights to be protected, it's the liminal deities. Now, vampires cannot enter on their own. They can't enter a house without an invitation. And that's because the threshold, on a mythological and spiritual level, is considered a kind of magical and protective barrier that gives security to the home. I mean, if you look at it, the bite resembles a number 11. Strange that when you think about it. I'm talking about doorways, and that's what 11 is. It represents a doorway. Oh, vampire bite 1001. It's an 11. 1 and 1 is a doorpost. Again, some people don't like me using this, but you cannot find these coincidences like this. It's just mind-blowing. And then at midnight on New Year's Eve, a tradition is to open the front door and let the old and let the new year in. Some people open the windows too. So these are just crazy rituals and superstitions from the past. Let's look at some more doors. Padman Abshamwami Temple holds many secret doors. I had to include this because it's so intriguing. In the temple were hidden doors, vaults. They eventually opened them. They opened 6 out of the 7. And according to reports, they found up to £22 billion worth of gold and precious stones. So you can see my surprise. And reports state it took 12 days for the treasure to be taken out of the vaults. 12 days. Just crazy. And according to other reports, it states that it contained this throne for an 18-foot tall person. And only one door remains closed in the temple, and that is the famous Vault B. Stories of looters being chased away by snakes pouring out from the door, and the sound of waves crashing on the door only adds fuel to the story. Folklore says it was sealed by a saint, and conflicting reports on whether it's been opened in the past. Now, I had to include this. Taj Mahal also has hidden and sealed doors beneath. So it seems a pattern in India that they've got a lot of sealed doors. They say up to 22 sealed doors lay beneath. And this intrigued me because I never knew this, I'll be honest. And according to his story, there was a black Taj Mahal planned to be built across the river. And this is like an artist's rendition of that. It would have been beautiful if it did get built, wouldn't it? It was to be his and a her mausoleum. Obviously the white was for the wife, the queen, but it never got built, and that was supposedly going to be his, the black one, to match the white. So it's intriguing, and I just had to include it to show you guys. Here's a couple of quotes about doors. I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. Wait, 3:8 adds to 11. That's just a coincidence. So I've got something to read out in a short, and I've got one more quote. It's just a theory that I've not come across, like it's come to me while I'm making this video. I'm going to include this because it regards the mind and obviously the doors. Because remember quotes like this: I'm trying to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. That's obviously from the Matrix. So it just shows you it's all about the doors. Guys, this is going to be maybe like be over people's head. It's over mine, to be honest. When I'm making this video, I came across this learning site, and when I was reading it, it just screamed to me the Mandela effect, a possible reason behind it. Now think about it. A doorway is also a threshold, and the gods, threshold gods, are also called liminal gods. And it just screamed to me, as soon as I was talking and looking at liminal, it reminded me straight away of the mind, subliminal. Because in many videos I've told you guys the best way to stimulate people who do not see what we see is help them to learn by subliminal messaging. The cabal do it with flicking imagery in between adverts, in the cinema, the pictures, and everywhere. It's everywhere. So it's a way of learning without you realizing you're learning. You can call it mind control of sorts, because that's what they use it for. But I love to use it for learning, because people who resist, you know, when you want to show them anything, they don't have an open mind. It's talking again. When your mind is closed, the door is closed. More door reference. When you're open-minded, you're open to all topics. The door is open. So if you're closed-minded, you need a key to get in. And what I've found is people do get defensive. When you're trying to knock at the door, beat at the door, people will get defensive. It's their castle, remember. It's their home. It's you. So that's why I don't believe in screaming at people and that, because 9 times out of 10, it just makes people walk away and run away or clam up. So if you basically leave subliminal messaging on references to research things, I found that's an easy way for them to pick it up, because they're reading it, they're doing it without them realising it, that you're trying to unlock the doors for them. So it's all about liminal mind and subliminal and subconscious. I mean, it's crazy. Think about it. The subconscious mind controls 95% of your life. I didn't realise it was so high. So our brains are actively unconscious, meaning that the majority of the decisions we make and actions we take, our emotions and behaviours, depend on 95% of the brain activity that lies beyond our conscious awareness. See, in our heads we have a boundary, it's called a threshold. Strange that, isn't it? Threshold, like a door. And that people say above the conscious is something called superliminal, and it basically you're existing above the threshold of consciousness. Then below that is the subliminal, that is below the threshold, that you don't know you're actually learning. And I'm going to get into this and read out this. It's like a piece out of a book, and I'll show you some pictures and different things like that. And I just want to break through a new theory on the Mandela effect. I believe it exists, but you have a community, and this is not aimed at anyone in particular, because it's like any community. You have your good people and you have your bad people. You have your gatekeepers, no pun intended. We're talking about doors. We'll have people who pretend to be, oh, we're open. Yet when you challenge the theory, it's attacking you. It's like my Mandela effect, showing you the origins in the Sumerian times. I've proved it through history, and I know we can't rely on history. We can't rely on anything we get our hands on. It's information. That's why we should never get triggered. So I've showed it can be traced back to ancient times. So what is the common denominator between ancient times and now? It's our mind. Ancient times we used to have a bicameral mind, they say. I can't take the word for it, I wasn't there. But I can just show you what I find, and I always leave it up to people to make their own judgments, because that's way you're learning for yourself. If I know a bit more, I'll say go and research it. I don't want people to think I'm a teacher, and I'm not. I'm just one of the guys. I'm just like you. I'm intuitive. I make mistakes. I'm flawed. I'm hypocritical sometimes when I'm doing a video. I'll start off with one place and I'll end up in another, because my mind's always open. I don't want to be restricted to one train of thought, and I'm always wrong. You know what I mean? Because we're human. A frequency. We're up and we're down. So I don't believe everything that's said in this, but we're going to get to it and see what you guys think. I am part of, we start with a quote, I am part of all that I have met. Yeah, that's me and you. We're all together. We're all one. The one wave I've always talked about. Yet all our experiences is an arch where through gleams that untravelled world. Talking about arches, gateways, portals. Oh, never. Whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. So we're always moving. So the doors are always moving. Bit like Stargate, you know, a starting point and a finishing point. Points in space. And there's liminal space. And when you say space, you get people triggered who are in certain communities. There's no such thing as space. There's no such thing as space that we are taught, but space is everywhere. Space is between all molecules. We vibrate. That's what I is, inner space. That's what I believe. But I've not been out of space. You've not been out of space. Dave's not been out of space. So who knows what actually anything is. But we're here to learn and look at different theories and squash them all together and come up with something decent. So I offered my definition of learning here. But here it is. I feel something more is to be said on the subject. Learning is a messy, complicated business, and I basically use this and mould into my theory by basing it on this theory. So learning is messy, complicated business. Imagine yourself standing before a dark, ominous doorway. Through it, if you can glimpse something previously unimagined, through it you can glimpse something previously unimagined. But entering and crossing through entails a risk. Anything might happen. Not passing through while safe means you will never know what's on the other side. It's a bit like Schrodinger's cat. You don't know if the cat is dead because you've not opened the box. Is he living? Is he dead? Who knows until you open the box. That is a threshold. That is liminal. Who is God of the liminal deities? He's a God of God, Janus. So it is everywhere for a reason. It's been changed. I've talked about the great vowel shift, and I've talked about the shift to him. The frequencies, it's all energy, frequency, and vibration. So you need a key, the skeleton key. So it can sometimes seem that the distance between knowing and not knowing is negligible. Some words I have problems with. We teach students something they didn't know, and then they know it. But this appearance of learning is, in many cases, just the first tentative steps in embedding new concepts. See, it's all about embedding. Embedding. It's like the arches. They're embedded in the circuit board world. They're embedded around us. We see the arches, and you can go around your town. You see significant arches. The rest of the building's been destroyed, but the archway, the doorway, always stays. It's because it's siphoning the energy, like I've showed you. It always kept, and when they broke, they discharged from surface and they bricked up. So learning. So in many cases, it's just the first tentative step in embedding new concepts in long-term memory. In actual fact, the gap or liminal space between knowing and not knowing is mysterious and largely hidden from us. So it's like occult, it's supernatural, science can't basically say what it is. So it's all of the above. Liminality is a transformational state where we are in initial stages of a process or occupying a position at or at both sides of the boundary. What's it sound like, guys? I'm just describing a god. What and doorways? What the anthropologist Victor Turner described as betwixt and between the states of restless flux is something all of us struggle to pin down, even our own minds. There is little hope of being able to pinpoint a moment in time and then claim to be the precise moment at which a pupil crosses a particular threshold and learns. So look at the image they've used on the site. You've got a mess, a maze, a labyrinth in the middle, not knowing and knowing. So it's a process. These are the doors, these are the thresholds, and this is a process of knowing. I've always talked about like a collective consciousness, a greater consciousness, where most or all our long-term memories are stored. We have memories stored inside us in blood, basically ancestral, and we also have short-term memory, and the subconscious, as I said, controls it. Well, basically, if we're using a subconscious to access memories, are these memories subliminal or are they our own? Because I'll let into a secret, because a lot of the people in the community get triggered when, you know, like people are saying, oh, they're misremembering and it's not, and they know it's their memory. Listen, I believe in it. So people can't excuse me for trying to, you know, gatekeep different things. I'm just trying to come to terms with it and try and progress different theories on it, instead of just basically showing residue week in, week out that people send to you and people claiming to be there for everyone. You know, we're all learning. We're all in this together. Some people see it, some people don't. That's cool, because we're not here to see everything that everyone else sees. So these are the doors, these are the threshold between not knowing and knowing. And because I believe in a greater consciousness, and people call it the Akashic records, the source, the Akashic records, because my pronunciation is awful. A source, one, the creator, whatever, memories are stored outside. And basically we connect to these memories constantly. We're uploading and downloading constantly. Isn't it funny that when we walk through an arch or a doorway in a house, like I said, the doorway effect, which adds to 11, disconnects us from source. So we forget. And when I did the doorway effect video, people were saying what has happened to me. I've said, right, I'm going to go into the other room for something. I've gone in the other room and I've totally forgot what I was going in for. I've had to go back into the other room and the memories come back, because the memory has been disconnected from source, from your memories. The process of not knowing to knowing. It's crazy, isn't it? And I believe this is what's happening in the Mandela effect. The process of downloading our memories to remember is not the same memory that we uploaded. It's slightly changed because of the path. You can see it here's a maze, and what I'm doing, I'm going to put on the screen and actually put a clear one, because I believe before everything it was a straightforward process of, you know, obviously the doors, the thresholds and the lines, which make it 11, and the process of thinking, it hits the transition. That's the bridge in the middle, the transition. I believe it used to run smoothly between not, you know, downloading and uploading, which is obviously the process of thinking, the memories and the collective consciousness. But the memory is in this place that we call the Akashic records, the Akashic, whatever you pronounce it. It's in the greater consciousness, the collective consciousness, and it's in water, the waters above. Waters above, remember, the word of God broke the waters above. So you had waters above, you had the waters below, and the void in the middle. The doorway, which is the threshold. And if you know the ancient word for water is mem, M-E-M. Isn't that strange? That it sounds like memory. Isn't it funny that mem in Gematria is 65 and adds to 11? That's just a coincidence. I've talked about mem. It looks like a frequency. It's memory waves. It's how we think. It's how we try. You know, you can call it Wi-Fi, but it's still a frequency. It's still a wave. Isn't it a coincidence that memory is memory waves? Brain waves. That's to 11. Just another coincidence, that, Paul. And what does the Mandela affect? It affects your memory. Mandela affects memory. That, if that had to 11, Paul, that would be just another coincidence, and it does. 9, 11, 9, 10, 11. So it's strange that the Mandela affects memories. There's a frequency, where energy, frequency and vibration, and we're storing the thoughts in the collective consciousness of thoughts. We're downloading and uploading these thoughts. But what door are they going through? If they're going through the subconscious, we don't actually know we're doing it. What if we are learning subliminally and we remember someone saying in a group or a chat, or we see a picture, and what if that picture was altered and it changed the name or something? We've remembered that subliminally, and it's in our subconscious. And when we've gone to access that, we state, we remember this. And you're remembering it. It's part of your memories. But how do we know it's your memory? And if there's what is above and what is below, and basically even what is here, we're breathing in water, basically a gas. Now, as in the middle shows you, it was a mess. And then I believe before, a lot of these frequencies like HARP, like geoengineering, chemtrailing, messed up the connection, the threshold between, uploading, downloading, knowing and knowing. They've messed it up, our connection. I've always talked about they're trying to break the connection to God and source, like doorways and archways. It's why they've kept them, they've bastardized them. Originally they were there for our benefit, and now it's nefarious. So if we change this clear straight line between the process of thinking to memories and mesh it up like a ball, like a maze, a labyrinth, think about it. How is the transition of your memories going to be through that? There's no straight line. It's all over the place. Are we accessing different parts of the brain? Are we accessing a common denominator of memories? Because we do share core memories. And is this being accessed? Are we accessing other people's? Because I do believe we access long-term memory from above. Think about it. The subconscious, we don't know where that lies or what that does. But if that controls 95% of the body, what the hell, no pun intended, is going on? It's just breathtaking, isn't it? That we have a phenomenon going on called the Mandela effect. I want to rename it to the Liminal effect, or the threshold effect, or the Janus effect. Because it's a process. Think about it. I want to remember something now, so you start to do the process of, wanting that memory. It has to go through a transition. So it has to go through a doorway. So it's all doors, and he's the god of doors. I've made this video and I've not mentioned him that much because I wanted to show so much more from that. So you saw all them different things. It's just crazy. I mean, there's also talk of latent thinking and in the mind, because latent is existing but not yet developed or manifest. It's hidden or it's concealed. There's voice to skull technology. People call it voice to God technology. Implanting thoughts. You've got MK Ultra. We cannot be in a position where we say we are 100% correct on our memories. I'm honest and know that. Sometimes I will think, I will swear down that this is my memory. But we're easily persuadable. And if we're accessing memories from the subconscious that come from some subliminal messaging, who knows? We cannot say we're 100% everything. We have to say, yep, there is a possibility, but I still do believe it is my memory is being altered. I've been in a position where I saw something that's blown me away, and I've been in a group of that's happened to. How can that happen? Unless we're downloading a collective memory. It doesn't make sense, but we have to progress it. We can't just stay like that was saying in this. We cannot not open the door. People are scared. Honestly, people in the community and other channels are scared to research Janus because of where it will lead. I'm never scared of researching anything. Do I have time to research everything? I don't. You know what I mean? There's only so many hours in the day. But it's just brilliant. Think about it. You got subliminal, below the threshold. Liminal means occupying a position at both sides of a boundary. The initial stages of you thinking. Liminal is the threshold, but it's also part of the subliminal. So it's crazy how this liminal gets everywhere again. Liminal space. a space where you have left something behind, yet you are not fully in something else. It has a transitional space. So we're ever expanding. So if we're ever expanding our thought through research, that research will change how we think and how we upload and upload. And it's just a crazy idea that it has to be a part of the mind. That's the common denominator. Where are memories stored? Are they alternate through frequency? Because obviously cymatics changes the medium. You get lovely patterns, but you can also get weird shaped patterns. So I believe they're using cymatics in their favour. Frequencies, we know about harp. People in the community, some believe CERN is doing it. Some people don't want to give them credit because it's science. We don't know if they're actually doing anything. But CERN is CERNing us. CERNing us is the horn god, and the horn god is Janus. He's a god of doorways. He's a liminal god. So CERNing us. CERN's opening portals, doorways. Is it all frequency based? Because they're changing, they're bombarding us. If you can alter the path from not knowing to knowing, or the collective consciousness to actually thinking of the memory that you want to re-upload, and you mess up the transitional space and you altering it or changing it, it's crazy. Because think about it, even people who are diehard in the Mandela effect, they say, why have they changed the name of a banana or a shape of a banana? What possible reason could they have in that? And that's my point. We are, I don't like using the word truthers, but you know, we are really looking into things that we already know and we've forgotten about. Again, it's about the memory. Now, this is the point. We can see certain things because we're open to it. The mind's open, and all the information is flowing from all these different areas. And how many times have we been told a theory and we've adopted it as our own? The mind, I don't even know what the mind is, but I do know it's a strange place and it has an effect. Many times I've seen things that are not actually there. So, you know what I mean? It is a tricky place. But even what I'm saying today in regards to the Mandela effect, I believe it's fascinating to look at something else. What's causing this disruption? Is this the point of the AI? Is the AI breaking down because people believe we live in a simulation? If all the memories are affecting, why is it only happening to a certain amount of people who can see it? Well, you've got so many doors that's open. Frequency based. When you attune to someone, you are on the same wavelength. If you're on the same wavelength, you are downloading the same memories. People will get triggered, but you know, it's just life. We just have to learn that we know shit. I don't know anything. I'm winging it. You know, wing through life, enjoying life, trying to make myself laugh, trying to make people smile and laugh, and learn some shit in between. Does it mean it's right? No. People called the way I do Gematria saying it's wrong. Why is it wrong? Who taught you? Did you learn off the internet? Who controls the internet? We make our own way. We all have our own doors, and we all have our own passwords. Remember the Great Vowel Shift video? You cannot learn all the words until you know all the words and get past the archons. Arches. All there. It's all in videos. I used to talk about Janus quite a lot, but I do a lot of other videos. And you know what? I've never wanted to say, but I'm very proud of the content I put up. You know what I mean? A lot of people say you don't get enough subs. Well, you know, I can't force people to watch my content. You either take to it or you don't. And I just love the fact that the people we have make me so proud to be in the community. How long will I stay in the community? I don't know. I just go from video to video. I do get sick of these gatekeepers who pretend to be saviors. It's crazy how people follow people you don't follow. Don't follow me. I'm just like you. I just want to learn different shit. I learn from the comments. It's a beautiful place. So students come to our lessons knowing many things. Some of these things are useful foundations for future learning. but others are naive misconceptions about the way the world works. We all see the world in a different way. The world is the word. God, a God, something godly, changed the word to the world. It's constant, it's moving, it's manifestation. I've always said the world is how we see it, because what we learn, if you do not learn nothing, you'll see the world for what they say it is. The more knowledge you gain, you attune to different frequencies. What people will attune to one way and see the world in that way, and until they attune to other frequencies, you get people like me who are so open to all concepts that, you know, you start to progress. Oh, well, fair enough, that's how it is for them. Let's move on to something else and look into something differently. So the world works. We teach a new concept. The new idea may momentarily displace the existing misconception. Student performance will increase, and they may be able to do something they previously weren't able to do. Repetitive, like muscle memory. You do something enough. It's like with memories. You subliminally send a message, or you put it in a subconscious, or you put it in logos, 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 the word. It, you know, imprints, embeds in your psyche. So displacing the existing misconception, students' perform will increase, and they may well be able to do something they were previously unable to do. The performance might represent a last change in long-term memory, but it's likely to be just mimicry. When students have our lesson, the new idea has been introduced, begins to fade, and older, more established ideas return to prominence. So it's talking about how our older memories, how we remember it the first time, always comes back. That's why people say, well, I remember this, because that is your long-term embedded memory. Yet we're seeing with our visual eyes now different residues, because remember, everything is a wave and a frequency. We're picking up different frequencies. That's it. We're opening up different doors. So doors could hold the memories. You open up different doors researching, you will let in different memories subliminally, and that goes to the subconscious. So we're seeing things now, and we're saying, well, I remember that, and look at it, it's changed. Well, it has to be in regard to memory. I've showed you. It adds to 11, which is his doorway, which is a transition. This might explain the frustrating phenomenon of students forgetting what they have been taught between lessons. The transition, going through doors, going through arches, disconnects us from source. Although students will often remember a topic being covered and they believe they know the material, they sometimes can be an illusion. They remember that they knew a thing, but will not be aware that they no longer knew it. Assuming students' performance is reliable evidence of learning can be disastrous. Instead, no matter what students think they know, we should plan to reintroduce new concepts of multiple occasions and in a range of different contexts. Remarkably, a professor in New Zealand was able to use data from his project and remarkably predicted 80 to 85% accuracy, which concept, principles and generalizations and procedures each student would learn. A lot of us are very predictable. In a way, you know what I mean? If we have a favourite YouTuber, we'll go to them first before we watch everyone else. It's what they do. They watch our clicks. Remember, they have basically electrical, you know, they have voodoo dolls of us in the AI world. All our clicks, all our dislikes creates an online version of us, and they know what we are going to do. So when you talk about something, it pops up on your screen, a phone. I've even had it when I've just been thinking about it, and it pops up on the screen. If they hadn't experienced 3 exposures, the probability of a concept would be retained, decrease in proportion to their exposure. So they're talking like mind control in a sense, or the world. We're exposed to everything in this world. Doesn't matter if you do not see it, you are still exposed to it. So if someone, for instance, believes that a Mandela effect, what's the new one? Sex in the City, Sex and the City, Sex of the City, or George with a tail on top, George the monkey without a tail. If you are mixing with people who believe the other, remember, we all have a field. And I've talked about that, Taurus, not Taurus, you know, the Taurus field. We all have a field, energy. Well, we're basically exposing ourselves. So when we come into contact with other one, you take on mimicry. You know, you mimic them. You will observe and soak up. Basically, like, you know, when you get kidnapped and you start to become friends with the kidnapper, Stockholm syndrome. Well, we have that with people. Doesn't matter. Subliminally, you're exposing yourself to this frequency of a memory. You will soak up that frequency. It's a crazy world we live in. But this is what's going on. So you might be thinking, yes, I know it's that. That's that core memory, the old memory. Yet you're getting all these other new memories and new exposures of changes. Because we're exposing ourselves to a world where people are seeing differently. We always see things differently. And that's why I'm trying to get in my videos. We always say, how did I hide that? It's hidden in plain sight. It's hidden in sight. Because it's a frequency, and when you expose yourself, and no, I don't mean drop your drawers, anyone, but in this world, we're exposing ourselves to everything, from the elites, the cabal, to evil, to different types of things, and we soak it up. We are sponges, we're doors, especially if you're open. Remember, they get your birth certificate, they give you a number. That number is like your IP address, that is your door number. They're knocking at your door. And it's just crazy. So when new ways of seeing the world are continually reintroduced, they make ever-increasing links and connections to different mental schema. So if you reintroduce something, if you're open-minded and you get reintroduced to a new world, for instance, when people were going from a case of it was a globe to the flat earth to concave, whatever, when you introduce you to another reinforced idea, if you're open-minded, you'll set to either model or any other model. And then you're seeing the world for how it is, and you're like, wow. Do you know what I mean? And that will then become stronger and embedded in you, in your long-term memory. So that's how it changes. Gradually, these new concepts weaken and replace pre-existing ones. In emerging minds, Robert Siegel has visualised this process as a tide coming in and overlapping waves, ebbing and flowing. As a new concept is encountered, the tide rushes up the beach only to ebb back as old ideas re-emerge. At any given moment in time, students may not appear to be making progress, and misconception may have been returned to the fore during a particular performance, but with repetition and reinforcement of key ideas, the tide will continue to rise. That's what they're doing. They're trying to basically change our old way of thinking. This is probably a more useful metaphor for the process of the brutal linearity of the flight path of the ladder. So it blows my mind when I look at different things. I mean, entering a liminal space engages us in the exciting process of mastery, but it can feel dangerous. Grasping difficult new concepts changes us, and changes is always uncertain. Although preliminal understanding of the world is vague, it saves small wonder some students prefer the safety of mimicry rather than the risk of mastery. Mimicry, we talk about how the devil mimics and reflects, but he cannot create, he just mimics. Strange, isn't it? And it talks about doorway. So I just find it fascinating that this could tie into the Mandela effect, because it's a way of how we think. And I have to do more studying. I'll have to, I'm just starting the journey of this, and this is at the beginning. I wasn't sure whether to include it, but you can see how I'm going to involve with this or any other idea. We're learning as we go. Someone will comment, and that will put me onto a different path. It's all about doors. It's all about thresholds. If you're stuck at the same door, you're not going to see anything. If you're not open-minded, this will trigger you. If you're open-minded, you've just learned something else and you've moved on the path. It's crazy. So, like I've showed you about memory, all adds up to 11. And it just blows me away. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little theory. Hopefully it made sense. But hopefully in the future, it will make more sense once I grasp the reality of what I'm trying to get at. In my head, it's like an Oscar-winning film, and it's very understandable. But getting that out, that's the trick. Sorry about that long unwindy bit that I always say when I'm reading out something long. But look at this to add to what I've just been saying. The Mandela effect in Gematria equals 1, 2, 8, and I add them 1 or 2 at 8 equals 11. Tell me that's not a wow. It's showing you that the Mandela effect is a threshold, is a door. But wait, let me type in the Mandela effect is a door and let's see what we get. 623 adds 2, you got it, 11. The number, the lift me up, the delete, the doorway, Janus's number represents a doorway, 2 posts, the threshold is 11. The Mandela effect adds to 11. Mandela effect is a door, adds to 11. This cannot be a coincidence, and it just blows me. It just blows my mind. It really does.
Well, we're going to revive this old song.
Let's do some animal songs here.
Very old song of ours.
1, 2.
Called Black Sheep.
1, 2, 3.
Came out, feet first, jumped out running, quenched the thirst. Some say I'm bad, some think I'm rude. How I survived is all attitude. Yeah, I guess I arrived right on time. I'm as ripe as the fruit on that vine. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they call me the black sheep. You know they call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome. Right guys, thank you for watching. It's been a week or two since the last big video that I did. That's gone down really well. People really enjoyed it. Thank you for anyone that shared it about and got the channel's name, you know, get about it. So if you've liked this video, please like, share and subscribe. Do the same please. It just makes me feel the love. I can see the likes, I see you've enjoyed it. You know, we have great comments in the chat when I premiere videos anyway, but the comments in the video are brilliant too when YouTube let us. But we know that they know they're restricting us because we're making a difference. We make a difference together. So I wanted to do a video on doors, and that might sound strange considering the amount of videos I've done on Janus, but I've never really made a video. I've done a few comments in an old video, that ritual about the doors, but I've never done a specific video just on doors. And I tried to make this one even as well not mention Janus as much, and I believe I did it. I didn't overdo it. Obviously there's certain points of time where I have to mention the research I've done in that because it's part of a story. I like to make a video in my head and I try to replicate that on the screen. I like to do like a story showing you this and this. And I know sometimes a lot of you have watched my old videos and you would have seen certain things in certain videos, but you know what I mean, there's not, I have to do it that way. Don't know if it's OCD or it just makes the picture better, because there is a significant lot that don't watch every video because you're not getting notifications by YouTube, and it's easily missed. So I'm very happy and excited about this video about the doors. I get into a lot of detail, plus at the end in the long and windy bit where I read out that I actually talked about the Mandela effect in the sense of how it could be happening, and it's in regard to the memories. I did a video a long time ago called The Sumerian MEs, The Origins of the Mandela Effect. A few of you have watched that, but still a lot of people resist just that idea. Like I said, I'm not claiming it to be right, I'm not claiming it to be fact. I just claim it's an interesting piece of the puzzle to go in the puzzle of each subject that I'm talking about. And we need to communicate, you know what I mean? That's why sometimes I've just give up communicating with other big channels or other channels, because they just don't talk. So what can I say about the video apart from the end? Bye. Can you imagine that? I must admit there was a bit in there that I joked. I had to do that for Steve about the ceremony, you know, and the wedding, holding is it the groom? I can't even remember. Do you know what I mean? Holding the lady up and going over the threshold. It's to go against the demons. There is other reasons what it is, but one of them so they don't stumble into the new house and bring bad luck. And there was that one, and I just had to put in the bit about doing a sandwich and the dishes just from my pal Stephen. So if you found that offensive, I'm not bothered, because it's fun, it's a joke, and you need to lighten up anyone who did find that triggered. But I just thought it was funny because you have to laugh at everything. I laugh at myself, and that's what's wrong with this society. We don't laugh at each other enough or at each other. So the process of the video was to show you, yes, a few door rituals, and I left loads out. Like I said, I don't want to put too much of one thing in. That's why I very rarely do the long and windy ready bit, because I'm like you know, when you listen to so much, sometimes too long is too enough. But I got carried away in that, and hopefully I cured your insomnia in that bit and you woke up for the thoughts. So where to start? What is a door? Well, they just say it's, you know, something that you walk through and close behind you. It's scenic, it's part of the architecture. It has a purpose of shutting the door, keeping you safe, and then you go into all the symbology of it. It's mind-blowing. There's so much on it that you don't even realise till you make a video or research into it. Because I said there's countless liminal deities, for starters, different ones, different, obviously, civilization and cultures. They all have different purposes, and it's just fascinating, especially when you take that into context of the mind and you put it in subliminal. It just I'm just glad the way the video took about. I don't want to do I want the video to, in a sense, to be what you expect, but then not what you expect. You know what I mean? So you're on a journey of highs and lows, and you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that coming. And hopefully that's what my videos are. I've got a sense of a flair, how to make them. Hopefully I'll improve in certain areas. But when you watch a video, you know it's done by me. And that's, you know, you guys seem to like it. So it's interesting that when you look at etymology and wording, for instance, like the Hebrew deleth is the letter D, and it's for door. But in the beginning, according to biblical studies, the word created the world. The first spell, the first broadcasting of a voice created everything. And it just blew me away when I originally found that meant oak, because people talk the tree of life. And then there's obviously Idrisil and different things in different religions, the world tree. But also it meant door. Because I've always had a fascination with doors, even before I knew about Janus, you know what I mean? Especially medieval doors and different things like that, oak doors and things. I've always been interested in them. And now I know why. So when you see that in the beginning meant door, and we're talking about doors and everything that goes with it, supernatural, metaphorically, biblical, different things of what a door is, transition, getting from one place to another. It's mind-blowing, and I don't want to like regurgitate what I've talked in the video. Just like to, you know, put an icing on the cake as such. So it's funny that when I found the letter, obviously I mean door, but also one of the other meanings of it was dilison, and that meant to lift up. Now, tell me the odds that dilison, dileth, to lift up, and you're looking, for instance, Latin, supposedly the God's language, the devil's language, and then you got obviously then pig Latin and so on. But to lift in Latin is lev, L-E-V. What's the odds on lev to lift up, like delet is a door, and it contains in the word 11, which is his number and represents two posts, being the boundary, being the transition, the threshold, and it's 11, and it contains a lev. That cannot be just a fluke, me making shit up. There has to be something in that. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but it's crazy that the number of him and the doorway and a beginning of the transition, the threshold, you can turn 11, and the first part of it is lev, which means to lift, and you get that. It's strange, isn't it? Then I talked about in the Bible, obviously biblical says it's Adam, and then when you research, there could have been a Leviathan was first, but the consensus is Adam was the first human. You can say different things, his wife, and how many times he's been married, but you know, the broad scheme of things, it's Adam. What's the odds that his name contains Delet, a doorway, but also mem, doorways and memories. Rewind to the end, long and windy bit I've just talked about with mem being 11, Delet as well. Not be a coincidence. We are doors, whether people want to like it, lump it. It is up to you. And I have a wry smile now, and some commenting on one of my social media posts that they're seeing more and more of my work now in people's work and posts. And obviously there's no link with me, obviously, because, you know, people don't want to give credit. Well, you can't give too much credit, because if you've got it off someone else and someone else and send off, you can't like trace it back. We know this. But it's so funny that I've had people mock me in the community. A lot of people mock me, passing messages to each other, laughing, oh, that's a bit of a far stretch and all this. Yet you don't look into it. And some of the shit that these people believe in, that when I show evidence, like I said, I never say the facts, I never say it's truth, I just say it's information. And we need all the information, good and bad, because it paints the picture so much better. Janus connects to a lot of things. Done by design, that's just his Roman name, obviously, and it goes way back. But this is not about that. This is just showing you the connection with doorways and why is it significant. Because near enough everything has a transition from one side to another. Life, death, night and day, night and day, day and night. You know what I mean? You know, you being pregnant, childbirth, it's a transition into this world. You know, so everything is a transition. He is God of that. The threshold, and then you've got sub-gods. That is Hecate. They're all the same. It's just a different name for the same purpose. But what's the odds on the Lev containing, is able to make 11, which is that? Then you're getting into, obviously, an old video I did about evil. I believe it's a frequency. And that's the transition between good and evil. And we're talking about a world where there's a door. And everything goes through doors. It goes through us. You have the creation of the first door when God spoke. And, like the Revelation quote I put in there. Adding to 11, that's just a pure fluke. And then obviously you have the other quote that lift up your heads, you gates, lift them up, you ancient doors. All these references to doors, and we being doors, even Mary in the Bible is linked to being a door too. So all these references, us to be doors. Now, that's why I put that funny meme in, picture I've made of people walking and looking like doors. Because think about it, if we're doors, some people are open-minded and some people are closed-minded to all topics. If you're open to source, you're open to the information, it's flowing in. You're closed, you're restricting that part of the growth of your mind. That's why I got into looking at the liminal and subliminal stuff and the theory of the Mandela effect being a way, of being false memories. And people think, oh, you calling me, I'm misremembering. No, if you get what I'm trying to say in the video, it's a sense of 95% of us, our daily lives, is subconscious. So the subconscious, which is unconscious, you don't even know you're doing it. You don't even know, that's a hell of a lot. That's only 5% that you're conscious of what's going on with your surroundings. That's crazy. So majority of the learning would have to be that 95%. So if we're learning subconscious and subliminally a lot, how do you know what is your memories and what is not being fed and what is a lie and what has been made up and what is in error? We have to take all this into account. There's no thing in life being, saying this is this and we're 100% correct. No, I'm heavily flawed. I'm right, I'm wrong on some things, but it's my perspective. This is my perspective. Might not match your perspective, and that's cool. Do you know what I mean? And that's where we are in the community. It's good to respect someone else's opinion and perspective. Some of it will match yours, that's why we're on the same wavelength. But if we're on the same wavelength and we thinking similar, are we uploading and downloading the same memories? It is. Do you know what I mean? It's like being, some people say sometimes it's like being in an echo chamber. You surround yourself in people with similar thoughts. For instance, if I'm in the left with you, and no, I won't fart, but if I hum a song, what will you do? You'll start humming the song, or you'll just crack me over the head because it's a song that you hate. But you can see the point. It's stimuli. It's subliminally. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy, and that's what blew me away about the subliminal part. It's containing a threshold and a door to the mind. The pineal is supposed to be a gate, a doorway. It's in the temple. And I've showed you images of what looks like someone praying on the knees. So if everything is a frequency, an energy and vibration, and it's all around us, remember, we only see 1% of the spectrum. So 99 we don't even see. So it's 95 that we don't even know what we're learning. And it's 99 or whatever it is that we don't actually see. So we're very limited according to science. It could be, them figures could be hell a lot different before anyone gets, snowflake butt cheeked. You know what I mean? We just have to work with what we've got. So when I say something, and I've got my research off the internet or books, and someone says, oh, you're wrong. Why am I wrong? Because I've got a book, it says different. Well, crack on, dude. It's the same book. A person's written it, it's their perspective, it's then been transferred to the internet, and it's there again. We're both using information that is a bit heavily controlled, ciphered, docked, hidden, you name it, it's been done it. So that's what one of my big birdies, when someone gets a little snowflake that when I say something and it goes against their core beliefs or something they've researched for 25 years, it's called a different perspective for a reason. Whose book, whose information do you say is right, who's correct? And that is the point I always make. It's always someone, when I write a book or a poem or a quote, I give it my flair, my bit of me in it. Same with the book. Doesn't matter if you're just writing something down, it's a part of you. And that is what I love and also hate at the same time, because people don't want to realise that what they've been studying for years is wrong, but it's wrong and it's right. It's all about perspective. What I'm researching is all wrong and all right. And as researchers, or whatever you want to call yourself, you should be able to hold the right of being hypocritical and change your mind at a whim, depending on the information that's flowing through the doors. Why does everything reference a doorway? How come all goes to 11? If I'm making shit up, how can it match to this? And then you'll get people that say, oh, Paul, you're doing Gematria wrong, and it's this and it's this. Well, who taught you? Did you read it in a book? Did you watch it online? What if them people are gatekeepers? What people if them are shills? What if you've learned the wrong way just because you've learned it off someone who teaches? For instance, if you learn how to drive a car, you go with a bad teacher, you drive like a bad person. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, it just means that's how you've learned. It's all information. My information doesn't mean it's, because I'm making content, doesn't mean it's fact, doesn't mean it's truth. It just means the information I found at the time of making the video, and the way I look at things interprets the information one way. How you look at the information, it interprets it another. And that's the beauty of it. That's why I always don't fully sometimes answer in the video if it's this, who is this? Because I want you to do the final bit of the journey. Make it your own. And that's just what I love doing. So we have that delete and lev and evil, and you put the D for the doorway in front of evil. It's devil. And the old spelling of evil was E-V-E-L. Contains a backwards lev. Down. Does that mean it's down? And up. It just blows you away, doesn't it? Evil is live. When you're in your house, you move, you used to live in that, or you lived in that house. So the D, which is a door. So when evil is at your door, it becomes the devil, the adversary, meaning modern one. Many names, many faces, good and bad. Just blew me away that. So that what made me look at doorways, and then it got me thinking. Know what I mean? I nearly don't want to burp on live TV. Well, not live, pre-recorded. So it blew me away, and like I said, in my spare whatever time I have, I'm making videos and that, but I do like to play computer games because I learn a lot of information now. Plus, it gives my brain off time. But you're also learning, like I said, subliminally and subconsciously. And in the game, it's about the Vikings and medieval times. And they say, oh, look at that, rude. I'm like, I'm not, what the hell's rude? Is someone being rude? And it turned out that rude was across a crucifix that went above a door. Rude. R-O-O-D. Door. D-O-O-R. What are the odds on that? I'd love a statistician to tell me that that cannot be a coincidence. Live, evil, door, rude, and it's a cross, it's a crucifix, it's a religion, it's a, you know, whatever way you want to look at it, supernatural in a sense as well. And it's above a door or an entranceway or a threshold. Tell me that again. When it's a coincidence, people scream, Paul, stop saying that, no coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. The universe is not that lazy. It's just intriguing me because, you know what I mean, I wonder if there is such thing as a coincidence. You know what I mean? It just makes you laugh. But that, it just blew me away. It just absolutely blew me away, that did it. Really did. So, what's on with the book notes? See, I've lost everything. So that's why I want to make things differently, not just for different sake. I don't want to start a video. Right, I'm going to do a video about doors and just show you giant doors, small doors, different doors. Why did he use doors in films, and why do you remember them? Because doors are logos. Logos, logos, the word of God. Tell me how many gates you remember in films. That's why I put a few in them. They're implanted, they're embedded, just like arches. That's why I had to go into the arch bit, because when we're talking about the doorway effect, in the sense of when I made that video, and obviously they added to 11 as well, that you say, right, I'm going next door or upstairs, or I'm just going to do something and I need to go into the car. You go out the room, you pass under the doorway or an arch. And you're like, what did I come out here to do now? And you think, look, I'll just trace my tracks back. So you have to go back into the room. Memory comes back like that. And this is what I'm trying to say about archways. Why are they always there? You can go down your street and you'll have an ancient so-called arch that's just standing on its own, or you'll have a new arch, you know, made by an artist. You will have significant arches. And I've been screaming about this for so long. You guys will know it. Obviously, the people that just recently joined, subscribed, won't. But arches are significant. They amplify energy. And if you're talking about circuit boards, earth, and different things like this, these arches are on specific locations. So think about where they're actually built, what they built out of, what they built on top of, and that is what I forgot. How many doors did I walk through? Right, so people will also be screaming when they see that arch bit. Ley lines. Ley lines. Are they built on ley lines? Energy lines? Well, guess what I found about that is... Oh, let me just get this right down. Ley lines, L-E-Y. But... let me just do this. And I'll put the ley underneath. Trying to get fumes off the pen. It's not been used in a while. Ley lines, etymology means this. A lie. Ley means lie. Ley lines. Lie lines. I don't know if this will reverse. Hopefully it'll reverse for you. And it's like, what's he holding there? So, ley, L-E-Y, ley lines. The ley used to be lie. So what they lying about, the purpose of them. Now you get it. Now you can see why I went. Most of these arches will be on energy ley lines. Are they lying about the purpose of what they are doing? Is it the fact they're hiding the truth? That's why people are looking into circuit board Earth, and I've been showing about these ley lines and linked with arches. Who is the god of arches? Who is the god of transitions? Who is the person that the transistors, who's amplifying the signal and controlling people, is Baphomet, who is, yep, Janus, a liminal god, but god of transitions. He's a god of boundaries. He is the key. He's not the person behind it. It's just the key to opening up everything. And you can see how excited I get, because everything is coming together now. But it doesn't mean it's fact, doesn't mean it's truth. It just means for me it's coming together. And hopefully the people who share a similar wavelength or think similar but not, think alike but not identical will understand the significance. Everywhere has a door. Everywhere has an arch. And everywhere is energy, frequency and vibration. When an archway is leaking, a doorway is leaking, a window is leaking, the same type of purpose, it gets discharged, gets bricked up, no longer in use, no longer fit for purpose. I've talked about this for many years. And people now are coming, attuned to what I'm saying, and I never go, I told you so, told you so. It's not, because we're all on a different path. There's people that told me stuff years ago, and I'm like, okay, I'll look into it when I get time. And I'm like, wow. Do you know what I mean? So we all have a pattern. I don't force things. I let things happen, naturally. But then you just think about it. Lie lines, arches, the flow of energy, the chi, the life force, it all has different names in different cultures and civilizations. Same purpose, so it's your life force. It's the ether. Is that the Kasich or the Kachi records? Is this the greater consciousness? Is this what helps and keeps and stores all that information? Water has memory waves, Mandela effect, memory, MEM. Whoa. I did videos on that. If you go back onto my Odyssey, my old channel name before it got taken down, the Black Sheep Researcher, you will see videos 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was at the beginning of the journey, because time flies. I was talking about these topics. And I have an ego. Hold my hand up. You have an ego. Ego is I. Cannot have you without I. Do you know what I mean? And you have to acknowledge, because we're humans. We do get emotional, which is another word for triggered. I get triggered. There's different types of triggered though. But we learn how to hold them or shut the door on those emotions to control them. Some days we'll have a bad day. and we just kick the door down on, you know, we just want to kick off. You know what I mean? We all have those days. And beginning my journey, when I used to make videos, I used to apologise a lot in my videos. And you get to a stage whereas, you know, F it, why should I apologise for making my content? If you don't like it, you know where the door is. People get triggered and have to tell you how wrong you're doing it. Why? Because they're insecure, they're jealous, and envious, and egotistical. I've sent them same emotions because I'm human, but I don't go onto their pages and state, well, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Gone are the days when you can have good debates and people didn't get butthurt. Times are changing for good and for bad. But look what's coming to the forefront now. I've got people who are respect, who are good at numerology, and they're now looking at the 11 and been blown away about how it opens a key to a lot of rituals. It's a transition, it's that path, it's that not knowing and knowing, and whatever's in between. Liminal space and the subconscious mind. People are so... I'm me in this. So are your thoughts your own? Can you say 100% they are? Because many times I've watched content on videos when the content creators are saying, right, this is a change. And if you don't say the same, you're a gateway, because, you know, it's rubbish. Give people options. I've seen other channels do, right, what was this change, and give you 4 or 5 options. Let people choose. People feel under pressure to agree. And then when you agree, it's implementing a memory in your head. And then them memories become your memories. Because it's hard to differentiate from different things. We've all done it. I've done it. Where you swear that when you make content, make a post, that it was your, you know, it was you. It was you who come up with it. What is an original post anymore? It's so hard because we have a lot of the similar thoughts, and this is my point I was raising in that video. I hope we all share a common source of information and theories and sparks, and we access them. It's like Tesla. Some people believe in Tesla, some people think he's a fraud. Where do we get all our information for this? It's on this. Everything is released for and against. Everything. I could go and find someone that you personally notice to be what the most goodest, beautifulest, caring person in the world, and you can find dirt on them in seconds. But it's interpreting. We all interpret different. We all have different keys to doors. Different doors lead to different places. Some people have a long corridor and things change. So you can see my point of why I want to do a video on doors is just to show the significance, the metaphorically and the religious aspect of it. A lot of these rituals are done in religious terms. There's another door, St. Santiago, that's opened every 6 and 5 years and 11 years. 6 and 5. You know, so you can see the point. Everything in this world, we've got people saying this is this. Now you can go now and look at the channel and they say, and they'll have a fancy catchy title, clickbait, and you watch the video and you go, what a bag of shit. You know, and then they'll say, right, you don't follow this perspective, you're a shill. You're a shill if you go this. And they're gatekeeping. They're gatekeeping a specific topic. And then there's also people that say, well, if the whole withholding that information, that means that information is right. It's not. If I wanted to point you in the wrong direction, I would promote one bit of information and pretend to withhold that information and keep that secure, but that somehow got out and it must be true because it's hidden. It's not. It's all information, good and bad. And that's what I always promote. It's just information. How you wield that information, the intent, is the purpose of you. That's why I said to you, I'm so grateful for the people that help me and support me. You know, there's a lot of more channels now that go about paywalls and begging and forcing people. We're a community, and we should always be fighting for each other, whether you like them or not. You know, there's not many of us in the grand scheme of things, or is there? We just don't know. You can't control any about information that we get. So that's why I wanted to do something significantly significant on the doors. Because think about it, doorways are everywhere, and that's why the ancient Chinese and obviously the modern Chinese, Qi, and is it Fang Shui or Feng Shui pronunciation, says how important doorways are. And you never think about that, does it? Is the reason why you don't feel uneasy in your new house or your old house was because of the flow of energy coming from a door? It just gets you because, like I said, subconsciously, 95% we're not aware of, 99% we don't see. So what the hell is going on? Do these numbers change verbatim for each individual? Is your 1% better is different than my 1%, and I'm seeing a different 1% than you. You see a different 1% from them, and so on. And subconsciously, we learn different methods. Is outside influence is a rise in radio waves, for instance, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, going to be 6G, influencing memories, radio waves. If the memories are waves, and somehow, in you being electric, you send your, access. It's like a bumper ride. You have the metal rod connected to the electric current and you're riding around. Is that what we are? Are we connected to source because we're doors, the heavenly and, the earthly gates, and the information flows? Or did it used to? Do certain people still have that aspect where it's flowing nicely and it doesn't get, broken down? Because I'm just thinking, like, with all those radio waves, Wi-Fi, if we could see what they actually look like, how we just being bombarded with waves that's changing how we think. Energy gets stored in inanimate objects like ghosts. You can feel the energy in rooms. So, like I said, I believe the consciousness in aspects of source. Tesla believed in that, and a lot of other scientists. And then you'll say, well, they're all shield gatekeepers. Could well be. But that's what happens with people. Someone will watch a channel or a truther, and he's got a big following, and he'll say, guys, he's a shill, she's a shill. What's your first aspect? If you're open-minded and not easily swayed, you will think, well, that's just their opinion, and I like them because it's like school ground. Oh, well, you're not talking to him because you fell out with them, and that's what it is. People are trying to control what flow of information comes into you through your doors, your threshold. Some of us have bigger boundaries. Some of us have smaller boundaries. And this is what it is. It's the boundaries of truth. Truth is personal. That's why using them. I'll keep showing it. Your truth is your door. You have access to that key. When you were born, they give you a number because they want control. They want some form of control over that door to influence it. For instance, if you're a hacker, you need I'm not a hacker, so I wouldn't know, but basis on, you would need the IP address of the computer and the home line to get through. So it's like the door. If you want to hack it, you want to control it, influence it with false memories, false ideas, voice to God technology, blah, 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 you would need the number of the door. If you get mail through the post, you have to put a postcode on a door number, and it comes to that address. Why is there arches everywhere? Because it's controlling the flow. It's redirecting the flow. It's amplifying the flow, negative or positive. It's changing the vibes, especially if they're on lie lines. And look, a lot of people are looking into different topics or the same topic. The countless channels that are all on certain topics, and it's this video on this video, and it's just the same stuff regurgitated. I try, although I do show a lot of Janus topics, you just got to look on the videos and, you get a different aspect. I mean, I'm looking on my videos now. I've done the skeleton key. I do spell etymology, my just opinion, the madam, the oculist, occultist, who's, the blueprint, the cardiac arrest, the ritual to cardia. I've got beneath the neon. I'll have to do some more of them. Looking specific into sissies, SWAT sticker, meta, beyond the horizon. It's a good video. My giants, men of all renown, looking at differently, talking about how we are prisons. That's been really well accepted. I'm just looking, 79,000 views. Bloody hell. Pardon my swearing. The Crystal Matrix, Maps, The Greatest Lie Ever Told, Spelletymology and Graphene, The Brotherhood. So you can see all my videos, you know, are different. And it doesn't mean they're right. And like I've said to you guys before, I'm not apologising anymore. People know who I am. People know I'm respectful. If you take it the wrong way, that's just your fault. But it's just mind-blowing. So that got me then to near the end when I was just looking at liminal and obviously subliminal and the way the Mandela effect works. Because how hard it is, for instance, because look, how many times do we people please research for yourself? And I try and research it myself all the time. You guys know what I'm like. But the odd time, we've all done the odd slip when we've trusted someone's posted and it turned out to be complete garbage or bollocks. But you've took that on your mantle, so if that information is wrong, it's got stored and it's gone. And it's subliminally and subconsciously in your head. So when someone says to you, oh, well, such and such and such, and then you're trying to think now, you're trying to upload, you know, and download the memories back, you're trying to connect. And that's the first door that you come to, and it was a false memory because it wasn't yours. I know, you know what I mean? It's just crazy to think about, because I believe I'm onto something, and people will think, oh, you're attacking it. I'm not attacking nothing. You don't want to stand at the doorway and like that, talking in a video and not look through. You either want, it's like the attack or flight, or, you know, fight or flight reflex, the adrenaline. You either want to go through the door, you want to kick it down, peep through, you know what I mean? And this is just what it is. It's information. It's looking at something different. If 95% is subconscious and it's unconscious, meaning we're not aware of it. And then you have subliminal, which is reacts to stimuli. So, for instance, if someone's talking, or I'm watching a video, or it's society in general, or it's voice to God's technology, or it's just get truthers, if it's misinformation been posted on purpose, like it's been CGI'd or it's just lied, we're soaking all this up. We're soaking it all up. So it's very easy to get a false memory, and I forgot what I was saying is, but once you sometimes get a memory and it's a false memory, you then entwine it, you add your little bit to it, and it becomes your memory. You know what I mean? And that has happened a lot. And as a community, we can't say, well, I saw it this way, and that is what I mentioned in the video. If you saw it one way, that is your embedded long-term memory. It's been embedded, so it's hard to shift. And that's why you get different types of residue after residue after residue, because they're trying to replace that embedded video. And for people who do not believe in it, don't worry about it. It's like anything. You will see something I don't see. Do you know what I mean? Is it in regard to memory and how you're brought up? Is it outside the influx of that stimuli? Is it because you're open-minded more? Do you know what I mean? So there's so many reasons why. It's still a phenomenon that is worth investigating. Some of the things do make you go, wow. But what's happening is in the community, you've got people just making up shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's startling. But that could be said for any community. You have your good ones and you have your bad ones. And that's the point. I started off in a community years ago, got made a mockery and laughed at. And that's how I got the Black Sheep Researcher. So, you know, it's all done by design. You put all this together, you have a system, or we're in a circuit board type of scenario. You have lie lines, you know, you have arches, you have doorways, and it's just mind-blowing that when you walk through a door, your memory's resetting. It's just, wow. So if that is on board with the theory about the Mandela effect, it's a sense of, what else is it resetting? Society's trying to embed you with new memories. Who is doing it? Is it a fact of that no one is doing it, in the sense of there is no grand evil schemer out there, but we know there is. But you know what I'm trying to say is there's not always a boogie guy. Sometimes it's a sense of us reshaping or manifesting our own reality due to the stimulus that we're being fed. If you're watching a lot of channels who are on certain topics, and they're bombarding you with an opinion, and they're saying it's fact and it's truth, and you respect them and you think, well, they must be right, then that's ingrained in your memory, and then that memory becomes your memory. And as people will get butthurt over what I've said in the video, and it's your problem. I'm not here to cause offence. I'm here to progress a way of thinking for myself. And there's people who will say they're trying to progress. They ain't progressing nothing. Do you mean there's people saying they research shit, nothing? Do you mean you can see people who research? Just look at the chat, look at the comments. I'm astounded. I'm humbled. I'm blown away. There's people. I know you can't gauge levels of smartness due to society, but God, there's some smart and talented people, and I just feel honoured that you guys have decided to call this one of your homes that you visit, and one of the doors that you knock on when I'm doing a video. Just mind blowing, because there's also things that we just don't know, like the game Knock and Run. We used to call it. You might call it something different in your neighbourhood. Knock and Run, and that was based on, in the olden times, if someone did that, they would think death was coming for them. It's just mind blowing. You think of these things, and how society is built up on superstitions and different things, and how we are programmed to, pagan, attack. Do you know what I mean? We need to take a step back and assess the situation, and that's what I do. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, I'm not. I'm just like you guys, maybe worse, but I try my best, and that's what you get. I make content for me, but also content that hopefully you guys find interesting, and it makes you think. Rightly or wrongly, it's making you think. You're thinking, he has a point there, but I couldn't see what he was saying there. But still, he's making me think. I'm making my own connections. I'm not here to say, in fact, this is right. If you don't follow this, you're a shill, blah, blah, blah. No. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Society, we have lost a bit, but we also gained a bit, you know what I mean? But we have to get that balance back. So you can see this video, I really, really loved it. I've showed you different things about doors, etymology, spell etymology is in it. I showed you the significance of doors. There's not just doorways, the portals, the gateways, the transitions in life. You can look at metaphorically, spiritually, religiously. I've covered them in previous videos and mentioned them quickly in this. Also, many different door rituals. I mean, there's a Christian one tied to pagan with a chalk on the door to ward off evil. You know what I mean? So there's so many rituals, frogs on the doors, bats hanging upside down on doors. There's so many. And some of these have stick to today, some of them have not. But it's just beautiful and weird and warped and interesting and intriguing, all rolled into one. That when you look at a door, it's not just a door. I mean, think about that. Do you make the energy in your home? Or is it controlled and influenced by Wi-Fi, by the internet? Are they changing it? So there's a lot of things. But just look at societies as memories have changed. And look what's changed since technology. The rise of AI, whose original name was IE, AI, AE, IA, you know what I mean? So you can see why I research this liminal god, because it's even part of the mind. I showed you that last week in the sense of the split of the mind in two hemispheres. It's intriguing, and I just hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed that little bit at the end. I want to try and work on it more in between different videos, because I know I'm onto something. I know memories can be influenced. I was talking today. Was it today or was it yesterday? I'm not letting you to a secret. But, talking to people on... Oh, God, I forgot what it's called now. What's it called? Technology. Telegram. You know what I mean? About the influx and who's controlling your memories. Are you controlling them? Is it source controlling them? Do we have a sense of, remember, the adjustment bureau is your life planned out no matter what. If you take a left or a right, or think you're being out of the box thinking, or you're being spontaneous, is even that already been pre-recorded and you're just going through different doors. So you can see all the videos influx in with doors. It just blows you away, and it's just showing you there's so much into just about a door that blows your mind. And I'm really excited by this video because it's got everything in it. It's got etymology, what I call spell etymology. It's got other theories tied to doors. There's just so much in it. And if you really enjoyed it, please give me a like, share, or a subscribe if you're watching it for the first time. Share it about, and hopefully you've enjoyed the video. And as I'm not doing many lives, I don't know if I'm going to do lives again. I don't know if I'm going to work on other channels anymore. Just because, like I said, you message a lot of channels and no one wants to bother you. So it's a case of I'll just stick to myself and the people that's helped me, you know, like yourselves. But it's all good, and I wouldn't be here where I am today with the brilliant people behind me who make me proud every day, because they don't agree, but you respect that difference. That you can't teach, that you don't see that much of. And people can say they have the best chat on the internet. I know for a fact it's this channel. And that's not my doing, that's your doing in the chat. You've just made it a brilliant place to come, feel safe, don't feel out of place. It's just breathtaking. So thank you guys, take care, always wear a smile, and hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Bye guys.